All right, let's talk about turning in assignments. Now, I mentioned that this is a project-based classroom, okay? Now, in my class, in all my classes, I use Schoology. Now, regardless of how you turn in assignments in any other class, I need, and you should want, also timestamps of submission, okay? Now, for me, when you turn in assignments, you guys are turning in assignments in Schoology only. There is no other way to submit to me. If you email me the assignment, say, well, Mr. Walters, I turned it into you, or Mr. Walters, I shared a Google Drive folder with you, does not matter. If you did not account, it does not exist to me, okay? Now, the other thing that I need, a lot of times, what you're turning into me, I need to see it at that point. So in other classes like computer programming, for example, what you're turning into me, that project, that sketch, if you make changes to it later on, I'm grading what I see. So if you made changes to that sketch and you wrote over it with another project, you're not actually turning in the assignment that you originally were. So you got to make sure that you're turning in that assignment and only that assignment. For film production, you need to make sure that the file that you're turning into me is readable by me. So an example of this is a lot of times I end up getting files turned into me that's a Premiere Pro project file. So it's not actually a file for me to watch, but it's something that if you opened it, you would be able to see it because you have all your assets with all your, your videos and your sound on that computer that you were working on. What you would have to turn into me has to be an MP4. So it has to be something that I can see. So if it's a corrupted file, I can't grade that, okay? It does not exist that you turned it in. So if it's a corrupted file, and you turned it in on the last day that it's accepted, and I tell you it's a corrupted file and you don't correct it until the day after the window closes, it's now late with me, okay? Now here is my policy for turning in assignments. Now I mentioned before that I have triple extended time on all assignments, okay? That is a help to you so that you guys, if you didn't ask questions in class, you can get feedback from me on those projects to improve and to resubmit. Now, if you decide that you're comfortable with the 60 and you're like, yep, let's go, I'm passing, okay? That's on you, okay? I would encourage you guys to push yourself to improve, which means that you would take the feedback that I give, you look at the rubrics, you find out what you need to fix, and then you fix it and you turn it back in, okay? But where you stop, where you choose to stop submitting, that is where you are saying that you want your grade to stop. Once the window closes, though, you can't make changes to that. You can't try to submit something to get a higher grade than what that late grade would have been. The other thing that I would say is that if you choose to turn in your stuff at the very last minute and you didn't take advantage of being able to submit multiple times, that is you acknowledging that you didn't want that opportunity to get the extra feedback, okay? I'll still accept it on time as long as it's within that window. As soon as the window closes, though, 20% off that grade happens. So if the due date was, say, the 15th of this month and you turned it in on the 16th. So after midnight on the 15th, you turned it in on the 16th, even if it was 12:01, you are now maxing out at 80% of the possible points. So if you turned into me on that day, one day late, you turned into me and it's a very poor assignment, you did very little work on it and it's really a 50, it's still a 50. But if you did very good and it was 100 points, you got perfect score, but you turned it in one day late, it is 80%, okay? That works for 2 days. 2 days late, up to 2 days late, past the closing of the window, submission window, it is max of 80%. After 2 days, you can submit all the way up to 3 days before the end of the quarter, and I will still accept it, okay? We are treating this as a workplace, but at the same time, this is a school environment. So if you submit to me, after 2 days past the closing of the submission window, up to 3 days before the end of the quarter, I will still accept it. But you now get a max grade possible of 50%. So if you turned into me something that was worth 80%, I can still only give you 50% for it. Okay, the reason being is that in the real world, we have deadlines. We actually have to meet those deadlines. If you were working for a AAA game title company and you said, hey, I am going to release this game August 21st, 2023, and then it comes to October and you're like, all right, here's the game. You are going to be paying hundreds of thousands of dollars on fees and issues, okay, because you've missed your deadline. And in a lot of cases, depending on the job that you are doing, just because you're submitting something late, it may not matter. It may be too late to even be useful at that point, okay? So make sure that you guys are looking at the calendar in Schoology. I will be walking through it in class, pointing it out to you guys, but you guys will be able to see when those assignments are due. You guys will be able to see in the calendar when they're due. It's not going to flag for you, though, if we're working on a project and it's not due for 3 weeks, but you should not wait for the week that is due to start working on it, okay? So you want to make sure that you're turning in assignments early. You want to make sure that you're getting that feedback, okay, and that you're improving your stuff. You want to make sure that you double check the stuff that you're turning into me, that it is what you intended to turn in, okay? Outside of that, that's all I got really on turning in assignments and projects. Just make sure you guys are following the instructions on the assignment. It's very clear what I'm wanting you to submit. Don't just watch the videos. I have basically a checklist of stuff that you have to do for every assignment. I also have rubrics attached to every assignment. And if you read the rubric, it tells you, if you can look on the highest scored rubric, it will say what stuff you need to meet to be successful. Okay, so if you look at that and say, oh, okay, well, if I want to get full scores, this is what I need to do. You make sure you do that, you're good, okay? And if you miss that, you're allowed to resubmit to improve that score, okay? As long as it's within the submission window, okay? I want to be very clear on that. I don't, outside of that window, if you're choosing to turn in, you're accepting that you want late penalties, okay? All right, good luck, have fun.